Hello everyone, it's time for a new Q&A. I do apologise, I've not done these for a couple of months now, but if you saw the last update video, from now on I'm going to be doing these once again every month, and they're going to be exclusive to you guys and of course additional content. So let's crack on with the first question. The first question is from David. Oliver, for a future retrospective or commentary, any chance of the first X-Files movie Fight the Future, please? Good question, David. I've actually been asked to review the series a lot over the last couple of years, but as we all know about American TV shows, they have 20 plus episodes per season, and X-Files ran for a very long time, so covering the entire series in a retrospective form would be a huge undertaking, and it may get decent views and stuff. It probably all the effort will go into it, and we'll just get copyright claim by Fox, and poof, there you go. It's all gone. I can't monetize it in any way. So a lot of the hard work I would have done for free. But a retrospective or commentary on the movie is a good idea. I saw the film when it came out. I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't. It was obviously continuing the storyline of the aliens, that sort of black goo stuff, which I thought was the whole storyline of that throughout the series was a bit dull. I was always more interested in the freak of the week, sort of like Smallville, where someone's infected with kryptonite as a monster or something. Actually, no, those episodes of Smallville were crap. It was just everything for him trying to find out if he was Superman or not. They were the best ones. But with X-Files, it was like the monster ones, the random ones where you got the guy who eats people's livers or kidneys or whatever in his big smeggy cave. Those are the ones I really enjoyed of X-Files. So yeah, a review on the film is a good idea. The next question is from Johnny. The gift you got is really cool. Johnny's referring to the update video with the PlayStation 4, I believe. Would be nice if you did some random game videos too, if you felt like it in between your main projects. Not reviews, just sort of impression videos or something. John Carpenter's Halloween is my favourite horror film, but I wouldn't have thought that 4K would do anything for it because of how old it is. I'm very happy with the DVD of it. In terms of video game impressions, I mean, as you guys know, I do a Let's Play channel, which is kind of, I do it on and off, when I have the time. And I do enjoy playing video games. I play them, most evenings with my friends online. I play like PUBG. I've kind of gone off PUBG now, and I'm sort of playing Battlefield 1, which was like, we got it for like £5 on the Xbox store, which is a bloody bargain. It was like the full pack, all the DLC as well. So I've been playing that quite a lot recently and just losing my temper with it. But in terms of impression videos, I mean, how my videos are and how I structure myself, I like it to be just a review and not just like giving my impressions of a random game for 10 minutes. I think Jim Sterling, he's very good at that. Very funny man. But for me, I don't think it would be my wheelhouse to do that sort of thing. But I have reviewed games on my channel, such as Mad Max and Alien Isolation, but they obviously were based on movies or kind of, inspired by movies. I did Halo 5 a long time ago when Larry was on the channel for that episode, and I reviewed the Rare replay video where they released their classic games on the Xbox. But actually those weren't based on movies, so they were just like me trying to put my foot into the video game scene, but they didn't do very well. So I thought, well, I try things out, and if it doesn't really click with my audience, and I just kind of stop. I mean, there is always a certain number of people that like to watch those things anyway. There's always an audience who love everything I produce and will watch it nonetheless. I don't think there's any games coming up in the future that really intrigue me in some way. I had wanted to review, where was it? Space Hulk Deathwing, which came out for the PS4 and PC. But it was supposed to come out for the Xbox One, and it got cancelled, and so I was playing Space Hulk Tactics, which I think is probably a better game than this, but this is still quite fun. But I was going to review that initially for the Xbox and talk about the old board game, which I got a couple of years ago. I got like a mint copy of it off eBay, like the first edition of Space Hulk. I finally learned how to play it the other month with my girlfriend, and she was just like, she played the Gina Steelers, I was the Space Hulks, and she basically just killed me in the first go, and because Gene Stealers are just overpowered, like in the fucking games. But that kind of idea was kind of scrapped because I thought to myself, I'm not really an expert on Warhammer 40k. I just like Space Hulk. Everything else I don't really have an interest in. I mean, Space Hulk it's come from 40k. It's the same kind of characters and stuff, but it was just because it's like Aliens. That was what kind of intrigued me. But if there's something that's coming out for these new consoles in the coming months, and it's like really something I want to talk about, then I'll certainly do it. And in regards to Halloween 4K, now there is this strange idea that 35mm kind of films shot, say in the 80s and stuff, and before then won't look good in 4K. 35mm resolution is very high. And there's a discussion actually with Christopher Nolan where he talks about resolution and comparisons to film. 35mm can go beyond 4K resolution. So, when you see a film that's been remastered properly and transferred to digital correctly from 35 to 4K, it should look stunning. So, Warner Brothers are very good at that. And Studio Canal have been a little bit up and down, but hopefully their remasters of The Fog and Escape from New York and Prince of Darkness and what was the other one, They Live, kind of live up to expectations, because the T2 one wasn't particularly brilliant with the teal effect applied over it. I think that was a choice by Cameron, but it kind of changed the look of the movie. But yeah, don't doubt 35mm because it is great quality. Next question is from Omar. Hi Ollie, good to see your Q&As are back. Thank you. Question 1, in your opinion, what is the best John Carpenter film that isn't a horror, although I know most of his films are? Big Trouble in Little China. Superb movie, great special effects, comedy, action, and Kurt Russell and his wonderful mullet. Question 2, have you heard of Project 4K77? When I discovered it, it sounded really fascinating and a highly ambitious undertaking. P.S. How are you getting on with your documentary? Can't wait to see it and hope all goes well in the coming months. In regards to question 2, I didn't know what Project 4K77 was, so I had to Google it, and it was Star Wars. And someone's obviously taken the 35mm original print and put it into 4K. And it looks stunning. There's clips online, you can see the quality, it does look incredible. So that, in reference to Johnny's previous comment, 35mm does look great. I think you can download this 4K one now, can't you? There was this kind of, I think on the website there was a link maybe to a torrent of it, but it's going to be a whopper file to download and stream from somewhere. It may have a bit of lag, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you can burn it onto a 4K disc. Meh. In regards to my documentary, it's all going well. Tymon Singh, who went out to LA to shoot the interviews with a cameraman we hired called Jim, who does a lot of these documentaries. He and Jim got all the interviews in the bag, got a lot of decent answers to our questions. I'm seeing the footage this coming Friday. Ty came back today as I'm recording this. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see what he's got, because if you've been following social media, you would have seen the photos of the shoot and stuff and who he was interviewing and stuff. And there's a great photo actually of Mark Goldblatt in his man cave, and he's surrounded by films. And if you look at what his collection is, he's got tons of Laserdiscs. I was like, that is so cool. I'm seeing Brad Fiedel next Monday in London to interview him about obviously his work on Terminator 1 and 2, Johnny Mnemonic and True Lies. He was obviously the composer. It'd be interesting. I'm going to ask him if, because James Horner isn't sadly no longer with us, if Jim Cameron phoned him up and said, "Do you want to do Avatar 2?" If he said, find out if he would say yes or no. If he said yes, he's coming back into the industry. If not, then sadly that ship has sailed. But I'm also going to ask him if he'd been asked to compose the score to Terminator 3, 4 and 5, etc. Next question is from Wit. Hi Oliver, happy to hear you are introducing new elements into the Patreon page. Question number 1, with Superman the movie getting the 4K HDR upgrade next month, what film/film series would you like most to see upgrades next? I would say the Alien series and Tron 1 and 2. Especially seeing Alien, the first one, in 4K. Wonderfully shot movie, 35mm film. There's some things where people said it was shot on 70, which is not true. It was a 35mm film that's blown up to 70. But the Blu-ray looks stunning, and the 4K will bring out a lot more of the detail in the blacks and the shadows and stuff. So That will be intriguing to see. And Tron 1 and 2, I mean, Tron 1 shot in 65mm black and white. So, and obviously the scenes where they're not in Tron as well are in 65mm Panavision, so they should look stunning. And Tron Legacy, amazing looking movie, despite the story being a bit meh. Actually, I might watch that film tonight, actually, Tron Legacy. Watch it on the big projector. Yeah, I'm doing that. Question number 2, what do you feel is the most underappreciated film score? That required a lot of thought, Wit. I could have gone the easy route and said Ninja Turtles by John Dupree, which is now getting a vinyl release. Someone mentioned it, sent me a link on Twitter. No, when it was announced, and I was like, yeah, I want it on CD. So I'm gonna have to wait for that. But someone this morning sent to me on my Facebook page where they're at now selling the vinyl, and I was like, it's like $40, $13 shipping to the UK. I'll have it. Fuck it. I'll have it for the collection because it will end up being a limited edition stuff anyway. So it's got new artwork by Kevin Eastman. But I put down on my answers to your question. I put Dark City by Trevor Jones. Incredible score, wonderful stuff. And I used a little bit of it, obviously in the review when I reviewed the movie a couple of years back, but in my Dredd retrospective for the trailer at the beginning, because the Dredd score didn't have that kind of trailer fodder music and something that was kind of felt like familiar but not too familiar, and the feedback on that was very good. And the Dark City one, if you go back, guys, you've been watching to my retrospective of Dark City, go to the end trailer I did for that, and the music there, you hear it. It's just one. It's not the kind of the big theme they have in the film, but it's more of this kind of emotional kind of piece. It's just some of the finest music. Trevor Jones is a guy who's woefully underused nowadays. Did Dark Crystal, things like that, and Labyrinth, incredible stuff. So yeah, Dark City for me. Question number 3, what has been your favourite film of 2018 so far? I would say Upgrade. My friend Alex on Patreon, I talked to him a lot, and he kept telling me, Ollie, you got to watch this, I was like, okay. And I was out in America when I was in Utah, and I think I took a photo of what I purchased in America. My friend Brian had picked it up for me, and because Upgrade wasn't out in the UK at the time, and I think it just finished playing in the cinema, I believe. I can't remember now. But I picked it up, watched it one evening with my friend Amir, and it was one of the best films I've seen for a long time. It was, for a movie that's shot relatively cheaply, looked amazing, incredible visual effects, great action scenes as well, great humour, and a nice little bit of violence. There's a bit of 2000 AD in it, a bit of Robocop. There's all sorts of space Odyssey and things like that. A bit of 70s vibe with its production design, with we saw the guy who gives the guy these upgrades to his body. It's kind of this weird kind of 70s production design with its kind of vision of the future. And after we watched it, my friend Amir the next day was like, Ollie, I can't stop thinking about that movie. It was so good. And I was like, yeah, man, I can't believe, it kind of went under the radar for many people. I don't think it was advertised well. And the cover for the film is a bit pants as well. And the Blu-ray stuff comes with no extras. It's like, just been meh, just pushed it out quickly as possible. But everyone, at home, if you've not seen Upgrade, see it ASAP. Next question is from Niall. Hi Ollie, you've covered a lot of movies with your retrospective series. Of all of those that you've covered, which is your least favourite and the one you may possibly never re-watch? P.S. Any news on A View to a Kill retrospective? A View to a Kill retrospective will happen, don't worry mate. But I just got to get through a backlog of stuff I'd promised before. I know I've promised Bond again. Yeah, I keep promising it, but other things crop up. The next retrospective after I've finished American Werewolf in London will be Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi's version. In regards to my least favourite retrospective or sort of movie I've covered, I'd probably say Fist on the North Star, the live action film with Gary Daniels. It's proper schlock. I mean, it's got a wonderful score. I'm more intrigued about its production design. I've got a Laserdisc sitting here, which I'll show you guys in the update Laserdisc pickups video, which I'll be shooting after this. But it's a film that is just, it's pants. It's absolute pants. And the director, Tony Randall, can't shoot action. And I don't know why the fuck he decided to make this movie when he specialised in horror. Maybe because he saw the cartoon and thought there was a body horror in it. He would be the right choice to do this. He wrote the film as well. It's like such a such a disaster. But it's there's something intriguing about it. But if you watch it as a whole, it's just a fucking turkey. Yeah, so next question is from Martin. Hello, Oliver. What inspired you to create your upcoming 80s action hero documentary? And would you consider some other feature-length documentaries in the future? Looking so much forward to seeing the finished product. Take care. Well, Robin Block, my executive producer of this documentary, who's also producing the In Search of Darkness horror one, he'd seen my Superman 4 documentary I produced with my friend Tim Partridge last year. He was very impressed by that. He thought it was very much like the quality of TV. And Robin had come from TV and documentaries and such. He had experience of 10 years. So he said to me, Oliver, look, let's make a feature-length documentary. I want to help you do this. I don't care what it is, what you want to make, I just want to help you. And the only way we could do it was crowdfunding. If you go to any film festival nowadays, there's loads of documentaries there for people to watch and review. And most of them are crowdfunded. They're not funded by studios. So I didn't have an idea at the time. It was just like, there's a window there to do something. So I had a couple of ideas. One was about cinemas in general, like going from 1 screen, 2 screen, 3 screen, triple screens to the multiplexes. This kind of change in the 80s where the multiplex came in, and the late 70s was with the introduction of Dolby Stereo, and then the 90s with DTS. I just wanted to have a discussion about cinema, and I wanted to sort of pull archive material from the BBC and stuff about the cinemas, and just sort of speaking to people that were in that industry. But it's a very niche subject. Not everyone would be intrigued by that or would want to invest in that. So my channel had, as a lot of action movie reviews, and the reviews are very high on those videos. And they were obviously, the action genre is something I grew up on, I have a passion for. I'm not obsessed with it, but I just, enjoy those movies. And I thought, well, let's do something on the 80s action films. And the original concept of that idea kind of changed from the beginning. It was about the 80s action movies, then it kind of developed. And then we kind of said, look, this documentary should be about the movies and the talent involved. So that was the sort of lifting off point. And then, we got Time Singh on board, who wrote Born to Be Bad. And his contacts, while he wrote that book, he figured out how to contact all these people and got them all on board. So he was kind of saving grace, as it were, to this documentary and making it actually come to fruition, as it were. We could have had, without him, it may have been a lot longer with its process. So it's helped us kind of get things moving along quickly. In regards to other documentaries, obviously there's the horror one coming out, which I'm only being interviewed for. I'm not actually involved with it creatively. But there's another documentary that could be possibly happening after that, and another one. So there's kind of two things kind of rattling around that may happen in the future. But it really depends on how this one does. If I might get burnt out after doing this, or I may see it as like, I don't want to pursue this anymore. But at the moment, I'm very much, let's do documentaries, because it's an extension of my retrospectives, and it's kind of the next career step for me. I think it seems to make sense. It's an evolutionary step. Next question is from Stephen. Hi Oliver, what do you think is the most bizarre bit of casting you've seen in a film? I would say Colin Farrell as Alexander the Great. I love that movie. A lot of people hate it. There's like 4 different cuts. I prefer the theatrical cut. It looks incredible, but it's got an incredible score as well by Vangelis. Vangelis should be used a lot more. I don't know why. I mean, it's just, so many people talk about his scores and people just don't hire him anymore. But Colin Farrell with an Irish accent, and not the other actors, especially Val Kilmer, kind of putting one on as well. It's bizarre. But Colin Farrell is very good in the movie. He's he's totally invested in the character and what he's doing, but it's just bizarre. Next question is from Richard. Hey Oliver, are you pursuing a career in editing, or is this channel taking up all of your time, or are documentaries your new chosen career path now? Thanks, all the best, mate. As I mentioned earlier, Richard, I'm focusing on documentaries. I've not looked into editing, like looking for a job, because YouTube, thankfully, has now helped pay my bills. So I don't have to sort of think, oh no, I should go apply for a job in London. I'm based in Cambridge, so I could get an editing job in London, which pays probably the same amount as YouTube, and then have to do the whole travel every day, then costing me train fares of like nearly £5,000 a year. It's not worth it, you know. It'll be fun, but then you could just be editing crappy adverts for TV shows, or just idents, or just, I don't know. You never get what you want to do. You know, if you say I want to edit theatrical trailers, if you've got the opportunity, you'd just be managed by loads of people working in a team to try and get it right, and it won't be your thing to edit. So I don't like having a boss. I don't like bosses. I've had too many bosses in the past. I've got on with most of them, but I like to be in control of my own destiny. So if I do my retrospectives, I wouldn't want someone over my shoulder going, "Oh, could you do this or add that?" Like, fuck off. You know, it's my thing. So so not doing that. Next question is from Frederick. Hi Oliver, which action movie stars, directors, producers, etc., who is sadly no longer with us, would you have liked to have been part of your documentary? I would say Michael Winner or Menachem Golan. Both, obviously, Michael Winner made Death Wish 1 to 3 and some other movies for Canon, and Menachem ran Canon Films with his, was it cousin, Yoram? So yeah, they would have been quite interesting to talk to about that decade and Canon Films in general, but sadly no longer with us. Next question is from Andre. Hi Oliver, what film franchise would you most want to permanently end, either from a decline of quality or because it never needed a franchise to begin with? Well, I would say the Halloween series. After, seeing the new film and covering the 78 classic and watching all the sequels, I would say that's a franchise that should have died years ago, because they don't keep continuity. They throw it out the window. Why should I be invested in a series that cannot stay focused? And each one is forgets about the others. They're just done to make a quick buck, which we all know. None of us are stupid. We all know this. So with the Elm Street series, but the Elm Street series were consistent. Number 2, maybe not by the end when he's like, "You're all my children now," but it kind of then from then on it had a sort of consistency. You weren't thinking, "Oh, is this a soft reboot? Why did they forget about this?" But Halloween is just a fucking mess. So yeah, probably that. I mean, I enjoyed the new film. I enjoyed the first one. I quite like Halloween 2, the 81 version. But it's a series that should have fucked off years ago. The next question is from Matt. Hi Oliver, outside of the big franchise films, what movies are you most looking forward to seeing, either this year or next? Bohemian Rhapsody. That looks incredible. Amazing editing with the trailers. I've watched quite a lot of documentaries about Queen and Freddie Mercury over the years. They're always on BBC 4 in the UK. And, I kind of know the sort of their highs and lows. And, unfortunately, when Freddie died, I still remember as a kid when Freddie died. I was watching, what was it? It was BBC News, I think just after Blue Peter on Newsround. It was had this thing about Freddie who had sadly passed away from AIDS. And that was shocked everyone, I think, really. And the media had kind of, was constantly trying to take photos of him when he was really frail. It was just disgusting. Horrible parasites the media are sometimes. But yeah, so that film. There's other big franchise movies I want to see, which obviously I can't really answer. Well, that wasn't your question, but I want to see Dumbo. I saw the trailer for Dumbo, and that looks so good. It was use of music. There's only a short trailer, the teaser they released. I don't think they've done a new trailer, but that was it got a lot of emotion out of me. And the new Mary Poppins looks really good as well. I was like, wow, this is quite heartwarming, But I don't think there's anything else outside of big franchises that I was on my radar. I had a look on IMDb for future movies that are coming out in the UK, and I was like, nah. Oh, franchise movie, can't really mention that. So it's going to be Bohemian Rhapsody. The final question is from Jeffrey. Oliver, big fan. My question is, what is your favourite Alien/Predator or AVP video game, and why? Not super original, but it's what I've got at this hour. Keep up the great work. My favourite Alien game has to be Alien Isolation. Incredible game. Very, very scary, very intense. Great single player game, which is getting rare off nowadays. You know, so many people are just buying multiplayer games with no single player, and they're charging you £60, whatever, for $60 for a full game, which is not really a full game. There was other great Alien games. I still like playing Alien 3 on the Mega Drive was good fun, but Isolation is easily the best. Predator games, there's not that many decent ones where you play as the character itself. But AVP games, I mean, I played the Jaguar game as a kid with my early teenage years. There was an import shop in Cambridge down a street called King Street. The shop is now like a hairdresser's, but it sold import games, and that's where I saw the 3DO, the Neo Geo CD, and the Jaguar. And my friend John Masters, he'd decided to go with the Jaguar. You know, me and John were kind of like, I went for the 3DO, he went for the Jaguar, then everyone basically went and got a PlayStation. You know, when that came out, then I jumped to the Sega Saturn. But we were kind of, you know, supporting the winners. And but yeah, John got the Jaguar. He got like Cybermorph, and he got AVP, which was everyone was raving about. And it was a great game at the time, but now it's a very clunky kind of first-person shooter. It's kind of not really 3D at all, is it? It's all kind of very 2D isometric kind of. Not isometric, but you know, it doesn't have the speed of Doom. But it was a fun game, you know. But the best AVP game I really enjoyed was the first one they released on the PC, 1999, I think, or 98, maybe earlier, I can't remember, on the PC and Mac. That was great. That was also produced by Rebellion, who produced AVP on a Jaguar. Then they came back and did the license for the 360 version and the PS3. That was a great game. So I'd probably say AVP on the old PC and Mac, and then Alien Isolation on the new machines. Right, that's it, folks. That is the end of the Q&A. If you want to answer me a question, leave a comment below or leave one on the Patreon page. If you're going to be in London this Friday, I will be at the Pimp Shui Bar, not far from King's Cross, to celebrate the launch of the 80s horror doc In Search of Darkness. Rossatron should be there, Mr. H Reviews, and a bunch of other people. I don't know who they are. I think some people who know who I am on Twitter and stuff are going to be there. So it's like a... When I went there last, they only had the bottom floor open of the bar, but they open up the second floor. So there's going to be loads more space for everyone, and they've got arcades there. It's Kung Fu themed bar as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll be there for a few hours, getting a few drinks in and talking bollocks, as I usually do. Okay, everyone, take care and goodbye.